It's Friday, November 2nd. Delhi's air quality is veering between poor and severe. The air quality is expected to dip further in Diwali week. Authorities have already banned construction activities along with halting operations of industries using coal and biomass as fuel between the 1st and the 10th of November. They're now considering regulating the use of private vehicles. There are an estimated 35 lakh private vehicles in the Delhi NCR region. The chairman of the Supreme Court appointed Environment Pollution Control Authority, or EPCA, has indicated they could implement harsher measures. Let us hope the air pollution situation in Delhi doesn't deteriorate, but if it turns out to be an emergency, we will have to stop the use of private transport, he said. Delhi had experimented with the odd-even scheme in 2 phases in 2016. As per the scheme, vehicles bearing odd and even number plates will be allowed to ply on alternate days, thereby bringing down the number of vehicles on Delhi's roads, forcing residents to either opt for public transport or carpooling. The Environment Ministry has also reiterated the strict implementation of the Supreme Court's order on firecrackers, saying, timings and locations, as envisaged in the Supreme Court's order for the bursting of firecrackers, would be strictly adhered to. Further, only eco-friendly firecrackers would be sold after proper authorization has been obtained from the Petroleum and Safety Organization. India has lodged protests with China and Pakistan over a proposed bus service between the 2 countries through Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. The bus service, to be launched on the 13th of November between Lahore in Pakistan and Kashgar in China, is part of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor project. The Ministry of External Affairs said the Indian government has never recognized the China-Pakistan Boundary Agreement of 1963 and that it is illegal and invalid. Therefore, any such bus service through Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir will be a violation of India's sovereignty and territorial integrity. The China-Pakistan Economic Corridor is a planned network of roads, railways and energy projects linking China's resource-rich Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region with Pakistan's Gwadar port on the Arabian Sea. India opposes the project as part of it passes through the territory of Jammu and Kashmir that is occupied by Pakistan. Since September 23rd, 140 people have tested positive for Zika in Jaipur. 50 of them are pregnant women. It is unclear how many of them know about their infection and the associated risks. Zika virus infection during pregnancy can cause infants to be born with microcephaly and other congenital malformations known as congenital Zika syndrome. Infection with the Zika virus is also associated with other complications of pregnancy, including preterm birth and miscarriage. But it is not clear yet if the Zika strain that carries the specific mutation that causes microcephaly is present in Jaipur. The World Health Organization recommends ultrasound scans at around 18 to 20 weeks of pregnancy for Zika-positive pregnant women to detect microcephaly in the fetus. It also recommends screening the babies born to them for microcephaly and other birth defects and tracking their health for 2 years to identify developmental delays and other neurological abnormalities. While India's Union Health Ministry released national guidelines in February 2016 on surveillance, response and risk communication in case of a Zika outbreak, the document is silent on how pregnant women should be monitored and counseled. The absence of a clear protocol is certainly being felt. Doctors we spoke to say all women who came for regular antenatal checkups are supposed to get ultrasound scans between 18 and 20 weeks of pregnancy to detect anomalies, including microcephaly. If we detect microcephaly or abnormality in the fetus before 20 weeks, the patient can choose to undergo an abortion. The catch here is that microcephaly is difficult to detect in a fetus. There may be indication of the condition in a scan taken up to 24 weeks, but definite signs can only be seen after 32 weeks, says Nivedita Gupta, a senior scientist with the Indian Council for Medical Research. Under India's Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act, a doctor is permitted to provide abortion only up to 20 weeks of pregnancy. After this deadline, a woman who wants an abortion must approach the courts for permission. The risk of birth defects is highest if the infection occurs in the first trimester of pregnancy and lowest in the last trimester of pregnancy. Health officials in Rajasthan say they are focusing on the Zika positive pregnant women in their first trimester, given that the risk is barely anything for women in the later stages of pregnancy. The lawyer for Pakistani Christian woman Asia Bibi, who was acquitted of blasphemy charges by the country's Supreme Court, has said he faces threats from Islamist extremists. Extremists also call for the assassination of the Supreme Court justices who pronounced the ruling. 47-year-old Asia Bibi, a mother of 5, was the first woman to be convicted of blasphemy in Pakistan, the punishment for which is death. The High Court also upheld her conviction. Asia, who had been living in solitary confinement for 8 years, was finally acquitted by the Supreme Court. In 2011, Salman Taseer, then governor of the Punjab province, was gunned down by his bodyguard Mumtaz Qadri. Taseer had campaigned for Asia Bibi's release and was critical of the blasphemy law. Qadri, who was sentenced to death and hanged in 2016, was feted as a hero, with large crowds gathering on the streets for his burial. Shahbaz Bhatti, Pakistan's minorities minister, was also gunned down in 2011 for his criticism of the country's blasphemy law. Some news reports say Asia Bibi faces a life in hiding or asylum abroad. The UK's Telegraph says diplomats are understood to have spent weeks planning how to spirit her out of the country in the event of her acquittal.
अब अगर इस तरह की हरकतें करनी है कि आप सुप्रीम कोर्ट के फैसले अगर आपको पसंद नहीं आए, यानी ये कहने की ये कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि अगर सुप्रीम कोर्ट इनके कहने के मुताबिक, इनकी मनपसंदी के मुताबिक, तो इसका मतलब ये फैसला ही नहीं मानते, इसका मतलब सड़कों पे आ जाएंगे, मुल्क को रोक देंगे। यानी कोई मुल्क चल सकता है ऐसे, और इसका नुकसान किसको है? हमारे पाकिस्तानियों को। तो मैं आज आप सब से, अपनी आवाम से अपील कर रहा हूं, अपने मुल्क की खातिर जो ये अपनी सियासत चमकाने के लिए आपको उकसा रहे हैं, आपने इनकी बातों में नहीं आना। ये कोई इस्लाम की खिदमत नहीं कर रहा है, ये सिर्फ अपनी वोट बैंक बढ़ा रहे हैं।
And finally, meet Kartiyayani Amma from Alapura, a 96-year-old great-grandmother who has aced the literacy examination conducted as part of Akshara mission of the Kerala State Literacy Program. Kartiyayani, who scored 98 out of 100, has been declared literate by the state government and is now eligible to write the equivalent of the 4th standard examination next year. The 96-year-old, who had never been to school, worked as a sweeper to support her family. On that note, you have a good weekend. See you on Monday. Love your morning fix? Help support our journalism. Subscribe to Scroll Plus using the link in the description.